in beneath my wings. You are my gurus. I am teaching you what I most want to learn from myself every week. I talk to you, but I'm talking to myself. Let's begin with our lesson information in case I get wandering. Today's talk is called Kumare, or Fake It Till You Make It. Call no one good but the Father. Jesus said that. You are the light of the world. Know ye not that ye are gods. Jesus said all of that. The Buddha said, be a lamp unto yourself. Charles Fillmore said, if in all this babble, the babble of spiritual teachings and teachers and religions in this world, if I cannot go directly to headquarters and have a direct experience of this thing called God, the whole thing is a fraud and I'm calling it off. And he meant the whole unity movement at that moment. And praise God for us, he had the experience of the presence of God within his being. That's why we're here today. Faith begins as an experiment and ends as an experience. We are all great beings. It's time for us to stop pretending that we are not. You can take that off just for a moment. When you first enter the Unity place of teaching, walk through that doorway like Bud and Peggy did a while back. By the way, it's their 40th anniversary today. You know, it's kind of like, oh, what is this place? You know, the presence of God is within you, and all this oneness. I come from oneness. I don't get from oneness. The Christ consciousness is within me. It's not the name of Mary and Joseph. We have a little boy named Jesus Christ, but it is the anointed one that lies deep in the presence of all of us. All of the stuff was so overwhelming to the head trying to figure it out. And some people say, I'm not sure I want to drink that Kool-Aid. But for those who stay, we don't ask you to believe in anyone or anything but yourself, your deepest, truest self. It's important to have an experience of that. And often it begins as an exercise and ends up as a direct experience of a divine presence within you when you engage the practices. God is, I am. Choosing thoughts, aware of feelings. All of those teachings help us feel the presence of God within us. So the whole thing is a fraud, right? If I can't feel it within myself, tingling within the cells and atoms of my being, well then it's not authentic for me and it doesn't become real for you. Today's talk is called Kumare. Fake it till you make it. You can lower the lights right now. We're going to start off with a little trailer that was the impetus for this talk that Maureen and I and Carl watched a few days ago.
Our problems in the West.
Go back to the beginning, please.
Growing up in America.
Thank you. I want you to catch every word.
So many of us look to the wisdom of the East to solve our problems in the West. Growing up in America, I too had a lot of questions. And I met a lot of religious leaders who claimed to have the answers. But were these gurus real or just full of it? To find out, I decided to impersonate a spiritual leader and build my own following. That's how I became Kumare. Hello.
If you act like a guru, then you can become a guru. Then you become like this. Very wild. Begin to feel the blue light.
I feel myself getting warmer than normal. I'm sure that's your energy.
I have always wanted to connect with a true authentic person from India.
I've been trying to find about the whole planet.
The purity, the honesty, there's nothing phony about it.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
I just can't believe that you and Kumare spend this much time with individuals.
Just what you're doing right here, like coming here and helping others.
the most important thing you can do.
I will tell my kids, my grandkids, about this wonderful person that came into my life and changed me.
I am the biggest faker that I know. I fake so much, I forget who I was before.
Only in unity, right? Kumare, the teachings of a false prophet. Someone who began with an idea as an experiment that ended up being a direct experience of the beloved presence of God within him. And Vikram Gandhi grew up in America in a place called New Jersey. His parents were first-generation Hindus, Indians, and they believed very much in their faith, and so, like all good parents, they wanted to pass the faith on to their kids. So they went through endless rituals, one after another, puja bowls and incense and talks and talks and talks and talks. His whole life was filled with that. All of the babble, as he didn't call it that, but I am. And for him, there was no feeling of it, no direct experience of it at all, except for one person. And that one person who experienced something for him that changed him was his first guru, and it was his grandmother, who would sit every day under the puja fire, and she would pray and meditate. And there would be a calm peace that would come over her that he could not deny. That was real for him. And so just as he was about to abandon the faith of his people, America was discovering yoga. Hatha yoga, bhakti yoga, hot yoga, freezing yoga, ice yoga, yoga with cream, you name it, the yogi thing was happening here. And that was the culture that he came from. And all these different gurus came, and they all wore the garb of the great swamis from the traditions from India, all claiming that they had something that other people didn't have. And they were garnering followings of people, throngs of people who were very hungry for the truth. Everyone is hungry for the truth and wants to get answers to what Guy Noir calls life's persistent questions. Yes? And so they find lots of people who are willing to be their disciples. So he decided to do an experiment, and he took a documentary film and wanted to film all the gurus and all the swamis that were in America. And he met with a whole host of them. And he found none of them were any different than he was. They were exactly like him. A lot of chakra problems, 1, 2, and 3, and using their power to influence other people. And so he wasn't real impressed with what he saw. So he said, well, maybe what I need to do is take a film crew to India, to the land of my people, and see what's going on there. And so he took the same film crew with him, and he went to India, and he found a whole bunch of swamis and gurus who weren't all that different from what was going on in America. He said they were like one guru was trying to outdo the other guru. They were having a guru off to see who could be more deep and meaningful. And even though there would be someone who would say, I don't claim to be a guru, everybody treated them as if they were. So he decided he was going to become his own guru and get his own following and see what this was about. He said, I have no problem with spirituality, but I do with spiritual leaders. And so he decided to become his own following. He was faking it until he could make it. The make it part didn't come till later. That came later. So he was faking it. He got his beard long. You can see he looks just like it with the hair. And he imitated his grandmother's accent. And I'm not pretending I know Hindu. And I'm not making fun of it. But he started talking like his grandmother. And he went and looked for a following. The first two people he found were these two beautiful women who were already great at Hatha Yoga, who became his first two disciples. He drew a little symbol, a meaningless symbol, on their forehead. Twirl. He made up rituals, useless rituals. Whoa, whoa, like this, blah, 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 blah. He made up sutras. Kumare, 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 as people chanting his name. And he went off to go find, in Phoenix, Arizona, disciples, because if he did New Jersey, they would know him there. And so there he was. He was on his way to teaching the teachings of Sri Kumare. And the first thing they did was, well, if I'm going to pretend to be something, I should act like I am one already. And so he began to pray, and meditate and do yoga every single day. And something began to dramatically shift in his consciousness. He began to feel differently. When he did the practices, it began as an experiment and then ended up becoming an experience within his own heart and mind. Slowly, he began to feel changed and shifted. And he went on. He wanted to keep pushing the envelope. There was a couple of the moments, because many of us have been New Agers, New Thought people for a long time, and some of it was like, whoa, yeah, it kind of does look like that. So they were at a New Age festival in Phoenix. They had the two beautiful women, and he's, come and see the teachings of Sri Kumare. And they're all chanting, Kumare, Kumare. And people will come up and go, well, what does Kumare teach? The sutras of Kumare, very simple. I am a fake. All spiritual leaders are illusions. The truth already lies within yourself. I am nothing but, and then he would hold up a mirror. I'm here to be a mirror reflection of who you already are. That's what his teachings were about. He never wavered from that. I am but a mirror reflection of you. That's all that I am. I'm showing you you. But the only way to get to the true self is to love the self that's reflected back in the mirror. And most of us don't do that all that well, do we? That's the self that we beat up and berate. But if you want to get to the self behind the mirror, you got to come through the doorway of loving the self that you already are. And that's what he was teaching. And slowly what was happening, he was morphing into the thing he was pretending to be. Clue to awakening. He was becoming what he was pretending to be. And you always are. You are becoming what you believe yourself to be. God doesn't stop that. Charles Fillmore said, the kind of God you believe in is the kind of God, goddess, you are becoming. There is no separate God from you. So if you believe yourself to be small, alone, and separate, and afraid, and isolated, going around once in life grabbing all the gusto you can, well then your life will reflect that back to you. If you believe, however, on the other hand, that you're holy and whole and pure, and you may not believe that fully, you may fake it in the beginning. I have a lot of time faking it. Sometimes I have weeks where I'm faking it. But I made it enough and felt it enough within me to keep going on, because I felt something deep inside my own being. And so he began to become the very thing he was pretending to be. And he made a statement. He goes, I wonder if this thing that I'm starting to feel now, I wonder if other people could feel it by a pretend religion as much as they do from a real one. And so he made up a religion and had people come and listen to him teach. And he never lied about what his major teaching was. I am a fake. All spiritual leaders are an illusion. You already have what you're looking for within you. And he began to practice, and he began to change, and he began to lose Vikram Gandhi and become Kumare. And he said, I had much more fun as Kumare. I had two things to do every day. Get up and be happy and joyous and present, and be completely with each person I was with. Be completely present with each person that I was with. That was all I was to do every single day. And I found it to be the most revealing thing to me I could have possibly ever experienced in my life. And he began to change. And so he said, well, let me see if I can push this a little further. He gathered 14 disciples to enter into a fairly intense teacher-learning situation. And he got this house in Phoenix. He put his bed outside because the Swamis sleep under the stars. And he was becoming the Swami. He was becoming the Christ, as you are a Swami, as you are already the Buddha in disguise. And people started asking him for his blessing. And he went, I don't know what to do. So he imagined that the blue light was coming from his third eye to the third eye of other people. And he started to give them this blue light. And as he started to give the blue light, he started to become the blue light. And he felt it grow within himself, because what you give, you receive. Fake it till you make it. What you give to someone else, you're going to get back for you. He became infused with the blue light he was giving to other people. The journey of awakening is about giving the blessing, even though sometimes you don't feel like, I don't feel like doing that today. I don't want to practice in that way. I just don't have it in me today. It's good to know when you really don't, but don't let that be an excuse. If you'd like to shift your consciousness, do it as a blessing to someone else. Get out of your little storyline, your little self, your fake self, and give something real to somebody else. And that which is concealed within you will become revealed in you as you share it with other people. The experiment went on. And then they were also filming all the 14 people who were experiencing the outer guru. And they were saying, my life is forever changed. Being in his presence has completely shifted me. This is the most profound thing that could have ever happened to me in my whole life. My life is changing. And as a result of him stepping into the role of being that great teacher, he was teaching himself what he most needed to learn. And he knew at some point he was going to do an unveiling and show them who he truly was. But he was getting confused about who he was. Am I this fake self, Vikram, going around once in life, trying to get a degree, trying to be in the film industry? Or am I Kumare, happy, joyous, complete, in bliss? Who am I? Who am I? He went to a gathering of people who were doing law of attraction work together. And he would come in with this little kid, and he was just so perfect. By then, he is the guru. He was saying, what do you do here? We teach the law of attraction. What is the law of attraction? It's, well, what you hold in your mind produces after its kind. You are an attractive energy force. So if you hold in mind, you'll attract that to you. He goes, does that really work? He goes, well, try a treasure map and see if it does. He goes, well, Kumare will try that. So he came back the next day, and he had made a treasure map up. And on one side, there was a picture of him when his hair was growing in without the beard. And then there was the picture of him, full beard, full Kumare outfit. He goes, I would like this one here, my old identity, to merge with my new identity so I can be more peaceful and happy and joyous. I want the two to become one. Isn't that beautiful? He was literally finding out that it isn't one or the other, it is both. It is the dance. Let it be a dance we do between the human and the divine. Because we're all faking it here, friends. Every time we believe we're separate, alone, and afraid, and isolated, and only going around all by ourselves, then we're faking it. The truth is, who we are is more magnificent than anything we could possibly imagine. We've been calling ourselves little and small for way too long. And so he knew that the unveiling was going to happen about 3/4 into the film. And he knew it was time to really shift. The guru is not outside. The guru is within you. You. It's inside of you. The Christ, the Buddha, the truth is inside of you. Unveiling that, allowing that to reflect forth through you, then becomes the very thing you can reflect back to other people. It's already there. So we had them do exercises where they would sit together and they would give the blue light to each other, which now, for him, had become not just a theory, but a very deep feeling in his body. And then he said, I want you to pretend that you are Guruji talking to Guruji. And I want you to tell yourself 5 things you're going to do right now. And begin to practice right now when I am no longer here. 5 things that you will do to bring the Guru out within you. And they mentioned what they would do. The 5 things that they would do. And then he bows to them and says, I need to go. And he was going to have the unveiling at a certain point. But he couldn't do it. He'd fallen in love with all of these people. He'd become so intimately and personal with each one of them that they had become a part of him. And there's a really wonderful scene in the movie where he's trying to give a speech to himself, and he says, my name is Vikram Gandhi. I'm from New Jersey. Kumare is my ideal self. But he couldn't do it. And he just left them with the practice. And so they're left with him gone, with 40 days of the film crew filming each one of them to see if they did the 5 things they said they would do to bring out the inner guru. Every single one of them did it. And their life changed and was transformed as a result of the practice. It was no longer faking it. They had made it. They had found the guru within them. But they were still calling it Kumare. And so at the end of the movie, and I'm sorry I'm going to give it away, but too bad. Maureen said, don't give it away, don't give it away. Too bad I'm giving it away. My whole talk leads up to this. She can be so wonderfully perfect sometimes. He has the unveiling. And they all come back after 40 days of practicing. And they're all sitting in a room like this, all 14 of them, talking about the miracles that happen as a result of one person being reflection of the truth of who we really all are. And he starts it off with a film of him being Kumare, and he's in the back. They're showing him, and he's shaving off his old identity. He's shaving off Kumare. You gotta let go of everything, friends. Do you understand? Your true identity and your false one. Everything's got to go in the end. And while he's doing that, they're showing a film, and it's Kumare. He says, hello, gurus, it is Kumare. By now you know all outer external gurus are fake. I am an illusion. I grew up in New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey. I'm Vikram. I got an idea to try to find a way to help people find the inner guru within themselves. And I found in giving it to other people, it became alive and awake within me. You have become, each of you, my deepest guru. I couldn't find in India or all of America anyone who could have given me any greater gift than you gave me. By allowing me to be your teacher, I taught you the things I most need to own for myself. You have become my gurus, my greatest teachers. You guys, all of us, we're each other's gurus and great teachers and wonderful mirrors. Everyone you see in this room is a part of you, reflecting back to you who you truly are, and also showing you the things that you aren't. Don't be afraid to look at either one of those two things. And then he has the giant unveiling. And in the film he says, I'd like to introduce to you Kumare's greatest guru. And he walks into the room and says, hello, gurus, my name is Vikram Gandhi, and I am the guru for Kumare. And now I give you the gift of the two becoming one within you. And it was like the people's faces, they had been with him for a long time now. 4 of the 14 people walked out the door, and I might have been one of them at that point. You understand? But the other 10 first sat there in complete stunned silence. He was a manifestation of everything he'd been teaching them. And all of a sudden, people started to clap. They got it. They got that what he had done for them was the greatest gift he could have ever given them. The gift of the understanding that the teacher was always inside of them. That the teaching is already present within you. And he had given them the greatest gift he could possibly give. His complete and utter focus in being the presence of the awakened one in the world. And you and I, we're here to do the very same thing for each other as well. In the end of Buddha's time on earth, he gives the final teaching to his disciples. And he says this, he's in his 80s now, and he's about to leave. Therefore, he says, beloved ones, be ye lamps unto yourselves. Be ye a refuge to yourselves. Betake yourselves to no external refuge. Hold fast to the truth as a lamp. Hold fast to the truth as a refuge. Look not for refuge in anyone beside yourselves. And those beloved ones who either now or after I am dead shall be a lamp unto themselves, shall betake themselves to no external refuge. But holding to the truth as their refuge, shall not look for refuge to anyone beside themselves. It is they who shall reach the topmost height. We are all great beings. It's time for you and I to stop pretending we are not. It's Kumare, Kumare, Namaste, Namaste. Kumare, Kumare, Namaste, Namaste. I have found the Guru within myself, and now I can be a light to show others that same presence, alive and well, already within each of you. Practice well, all great Gurus. The world has been waiting for you. Practice deeply, again, not just for you, but for the benefit of all other beings as well. Namaste. Kumare.